In a world where Beerus has had enough of the Omni King, he challenges all the angels and the Grand Priest. In this story called Dragon Ball 1 Billion, Beerus has wished for the power over all angels. With this power, he took down Whis, his teacher, Whis' father, the Grand Priest, and is now on track to fight the Omni King one-on-one. This is a very strange story because in it, Beerus is acting very weird. Usually Beerus around the Omni King or anyone higher than him on the hierarchy, he is usually pretty obedient, but deep down, maybe he doesn't want to be. And that's what this story explores. So massive props to the creator of this story. I've never seen anything like this. If you want to check it out for yourself, I'll leave links to read it down below. But when Beerus confronts the Omni King in his own house, he says, "Long time no see, the Lord of Lords." He's pretty much implying straight away that he has come here to kill the Omni King in order to attain his power so that Beerus could be the Omni King. Beerus had a wish granted from the Super Dragon to pretty much negate all these angelic god effects. The only way to take down Beerus would be in a fight, and based on everything that we've seen, the Omni King doesn't even know how to fight, so Beerus goes right up to the Omni King's guards and destroys them in an instant. From everything that we've seen of the Omni King so far, he cannot fight at all. In Dragon Ball Super, he threw a tournament just so he could watch it, because it's implied that he doesn't know how to do it. He couldn't even keep up with the speed of the fights in the Tournament of Power. In reality, if Beerus and the Omni King were the same power level, Beerus would win because he knows how to fight. But in this story, what we see is a miniature Omni King fly from the ground and start throwing punches at Beerus. And it's the funniest thing in the world because after he starts throwing punches at Beerus, he looks crazy. He gets this crazy look in his eye and he tells Beerus that I will show you my true form that no one has seen in millions of years. That's right. He pulls a complete Frieza 101 and now the Omni King is going to show Beerus his second form. The Omni King begins to power up and this is what he transforms into. A very, again, Frieza-like design, very sleek, but he's grown and you can tell that he's no longer a child. The fight between Beerus and transformed Omni King goes on for a little bit, but overall, Zeno begins to overpower Beerus and what we see, the Omni King is acting like any classic DBZ character. He begins to say, I'm enjoying this fight, so I want it to last for a long time. Zeno in this story is taking the idea of the Omni King and just throwing it back into the era of DBZ. This is probably what would have happened if Zeno was in the Frieza saga. Beerus begins to power up into his buff form. This is definitely Beerus at 2000%, and he charges the Omni King and he begins beating down on the Omni King. He grabs him by the face and the tables have completely turned. After a brutal beatdown by a 2000% muscly Beerus, Zeno begins to transform again, and this is what he looks like. This is a story that interprets the Omni King, the child that we all saw in Dragon Ball Super, into this hulking beast that resembles a fusion of Frieza and Broly. It is so out of sync with what the real Omni King is, that an interpretation like this, where the Omni King has muscles and is getting headbutted and fisted in the face by Beerus, it's a very general look at what most people think DBZ is, but Beerus takes these hits very well, and it's actually a pretty cool fight now. You have buff Beerus with hair on his arms, and a Zarbon looking Zeno who's grown 8 feet, the equivalent of Bob vs Rick. Eventually what ends up happening is even though Beerus has grown incredibly strong to challenge the Omni King in this fiction, the Omni King throws him to the ground and says, "They don't call me the Omni King for nothing. Everything that exists belongs to me. I think you're forgetting who I am." Beerus looks up at the Omni King and he is petrified. He knows that his time is done. He actually retreats the fight. However, the Omni King throws a huge blast at him and that is the end of Beerus. All of a sudden, Beerus opens his eyes and he begins to see Whis. He wakes back up and he says, "How am I not dead?" Whis looks at him and says, "You were having a nightmare, Lord Beerus." So this entire storyline of Beerus challenging the Omni King and all the angels was a dream. In this dream, Beerus killed the Grand Priest, Whis, and he tried to kill the Omni King. And that's a very short summary of this story. If you want to read this full story for yourself, I will leave a link down below. This was the story of Beerus dreaming of the Omni King. Let me know what you think. Could something like this happen in the main canon? Absolutely not, and that's why this exists. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Dragon Ball video.